the thing of self-sabotaging ourselves, there's always been this analogy that really resonated with me and really stuck with me so much that every time I tend to do that, then I think like this is such a stupid thing because I think of this analogy. And that is every time, for example, let's say, you do one action and it goes wrong, and then you think, oh, then nothing matters anymore. Like I skipped one workout, then the whole week doesn't even matter. Or I ate one piece of sweet that I told myself I wouldn't do, then like fuck everything. Like I'm not gonna care about my nutrition. It's like, and you go into this spiraling thing. It's literally like if you had a car and poke a hole in one of your tires, and then you decide like, oh, I poked a hole, there is a hole in my tire, in one tire. Instead of saying I'm gonna lap it or take it to the mechanic and it's just gonna be one thing and I move on, you're like, let me just like poke holes in all the other three tires so they're all like gone. That is literally how what we're doing when we do one thing that we think is wrong or wasn't living up to, again, our personal expectations. Then we just sabotage everything instead of just saying, oh, okay, I just let that. Imagine you had a fuck it button that you can push. It's like, I skipped the workout, fuck it, moving on. That is just going to help you keep so much more consistency. And sometimes I had people saying, you know what, this week, I want you to go through the week. And every time something like this happened, you just push that fuck it button. And it's like, okay, fuck it. It's like, okay, that happened, fuck it. Which doesn't mean we're not caring. We don't care about what we're doing, but we kind of like forgive ourselves and we're still focused on the input. And it's like one thing is never going to change everything. But if we let that one thing start spiraling down, we know it might change everything. So that car analogy or the fuck it button are two little quick tips and tricks, things that might help. We have this idea, okay, if I do this, for example, if I do this action that you are judging yourself for, if I didn't do my room nice, or if I skipped a workout, or if I didn't remember to eat right, or I didn't eat enough protein, or whatever that is, right? Instead of looking for it as, okay, this happened, let me learn what made me do that so that I can either go back and think about what I should do, what system I should put into place to do it better, or we actually go into that and then we add a meaning. Our brain is very, very good at the added meaning. So every time we do something, it's not just that we do it, our brain goes, and that means that, right? So let's say you skip a workout and your brain just doesn't go just like, hey, I skipped a workout. I'm just going to do it tomorrow. I'm just going to reschedule it, and you just take action. You're so triggered by past behaviors. You recognize yourself. You see yourself like, oh shit, this happened before. So your brain goes all that. And then you're like, oh, I skipped the workout. That means that I'm lazy. I'm not capable of keeping up. I'm not consistent. I should just give up. And all this discourse and narrative in your brain of your subconscious identity comes out in your inner talk. So that's why it's extremely important that when we hear ourselves judging ourselves or others, we can stop for a second and wait for the brain to go, and that means that. And then, funnily enough, we can recognize, oh, okay, that's where I'm judging myself and like putting or reinforcing that identity, that's what is going to stop me then to take any kind of action moving forward. If you go through your week focusing on that, you're going to see it so clear in your brain that every little action you do, even the positive ones, hey, I had, I passed the Danish exam. That means that I'm super cool, that I'm actually can study, that I'm killing it. So both when it goes well and when it goes wrong, we have that tendency to make it mean something about us. A lot of people procrastinate because they need to have a deadline and to feel that like that push that they get to complete things only comes when they're really pressed in time. So sometimes if you see procrastination as not a moral thing or as an ethical thing, but you see like maybe you're a person that really tends to procrastinate because you work very well under pressure, or that's how you've been raised. That's how you've always been doing things. And then it's normal for you to procrastinate everything and do it the last minute because that's the time that your brain learn how to do things. It might be the way you work. It might not be the optimal work. There might be other ways that work better. But for now, that's what your system is telling you to do. When we judge ourselves for negative things that we do, there's always a need we're fulfilling, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And most of the time it is unconscious or subconscious. So we don't really know why do I keep playing small? Why do I keep saying yes to everybody. Might not make sense, but if you actually look deep, you'll find the answer, right? And that helps you then change things up. I think there is a few points here that are actually very important. That is, first of all, this all again, those unrealistic expectations we have on ourselves when we're like, oh, but 10 years ago, I didn't do this, or 5 years ago, I didn't do this, or 3 months ago, I didn't do this. So why do I change? Change is inevitable. Like we all change. So it's very, very cool that we're not doing the same things that we were doing 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, even. We change all the time. So it's unrealistic to think, well, I used to do those things when I was like 1 year old, 2 years old. Like it's never gonna happen. When I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, like I always done that the same way. There's no way in this world that you can keep doing the same things the exact same way for years and years and years. Even if the most easy whatever daily things, they change through time. You're going to change through time. So if we adopt the vision of, hey, change is inevitable, I used to do certain things a certain way, now I do things a different way, doesn't mean one is better than the other, but they're both fulfilling a need in the exact same spot you are now. And also understand that it's not necessarily a bad thing. When we procrastinate, it's because there is a fear or something, or we know we need to do something that is uncomfortable and we don't really want to do it subconsciously. And to me, what has been very helpful is always going back and seeing what is uncomfortable. Why do I feel uncomfortable doing that? And if I get clear on the why behind, like what is the fear, or what is the uncomfortable or feeling that I have about it that I'm not really seeing on the surface, then at least I know where it comes from and what to do about it, or at least I can take care of myself in that area and then get it done anyways, or give myself more time or more kindness, right? So you change through the years, you change all the time, you experience things differently. So that's the thing. And at some point you also said like, and I want to understand why. And again, I sometimes how much I love to go back, like, or within, and try to find a why we're doing it. But I also
Mhm.
find it sometimes it becomes too much and not necessary.
Yeah.
The more you spend time like, why am I doing this way? What happened in my childhood? Why is this happening to me? Then you go
Yeah.
into that over analytical thing that is almost like, again, it's fulfilling a need to know the answer. But sometimes we don't need the answer. It's like as long as we have self-care and we see what is happening and then we can take action. I don't need to know why this is happening because it's going to reveal to itself, or maybe you know it already. But it's almost like something that comes from, I think, especially in our community, to when did this start? What happened when you were a child? And we overanalyze it. We tend to over therapeutically, I don't know, mentally masturbate ourselves about like why we're wrong, why this happened, and all that, instead of just seeing as, hey, this is me. And sometimes it's like the action is going to take you closer to the goal you have, and you can give yourself self-love, self-trust, self-care without knowing why. Like if my kid throws a tantrum or I don't know, is sad, the first thing I do is not asking, okay, and why are you sad? God knows what happened the other day when you reacted that. Like you just go with self-care. You say some kind words, or you distract them, or you give them something, or you entertain them. You don't go there and try to figure out things. It was like if you treat yourself as if you were a toddler and you treat everybody else, at least they were toddlers, you would have such like much a better life, because if you understand it's like, okay, I'm actually just a toddler. I need to write things in the calendar, otherwise I forget them. I need to give myself a pacifier sometimes because otherwise I miss my mom. Like we are like that within. And if we can give ourselves what we would give a toddler, it would be such an easier way to do life. And especially if we do that with others and we treat them like a kid. In everything that you guys are talking about today, there's also the fact that we are living in a point in time historically in the past 10, 20 years, and especially now, where we are addicted to this dopamine. And it's not because we were like this, maybe like the brain is developed to kind of like get the reward from that dopamine hit and then keep up the behavior, right? But now it's getting more and more to an extreme. And again, I'm not conspiracy theorist person in this case at all, but it's just it's a matter of fact that social media and how those apps are built, they're gonna strengthen that way of doing. of I get the dopamine hit and it's quick, and I get it, and I get the reward, and then good, then I have the behavior, I redo the behavior, right? The same with the foods we eat, fast food and the packaged foods and the amazing foods that we have at all times, all the time, non-stop. You can just write them a message on an app and it gets at your home 24/7. That's also reinforcing it, right? So there is a book called that I read recently. It's called Dopamine Nation. If you're interested in that, you can go look a little bit more into that. And a lot of the things that they say, like how to detox from that, is basically what we do here: being present, meditate. It's like all the things that are in there are basically things that we're doing in the program. So I was happy to see that those things are things that I actually have you guys do already. But again, it's so important just to recognize, okay, there also is a societal thing, a structural thing, not to push responsibility away, but just to know. When you said, it was super messy and then I get it super clean and that is satisfying, and that gives you something. There is where we can start being very interesting. If we see that as a thing, it might be happening in other areas. So it's like, oh, I feel broke, or I am broke, I'm going to make a bunch of money. Like that you go to an extreme to then have a push to go up. Or I am, I put 10 kilos on, or whatever the number, because again, it's not the number, it's just subjective. Could be I put on 5 kilos or 10 or 20 or 50. And then only then I'm going to go lose it and do something about it. We do that just so it's satisfying to see the change, or we like the challenge, or we can tell ourselves, oh, I could tell my story about myself. Like, it's way cooler to tell someone, oh, I weigh, 100 kilos and I'm down to 65, instead of saying, yeah, I weighed 70 and I went down to 65. So all these are subconscious things, but they can be so powerful and so interesting to go into. And I think if we start seeing that I like doing this in this area, it could be cool to like keep an open mind and see, is this happening in other situations in my life? Because it might be a pattern. You can ask yourself again, okay, if I mess it up so bad, or put on all this weight, or do it all wrong, and then I'm actually gonna create what I actually want to do, start perfectly, have the happy ending, whatever. What is that you're trying to create? But when you have this situation of extremes, what you're trying to do is, oh, wait a second, if I do this, I can be the hero of the story, right? If I can do this, I can tell people that I've done it. I can tell myself that I've done it. Holy crap, I'm a hero. Or I can feel like a hero, again, subconsciously, right? Or people would see me like someone that is incredible. And why do we do that? It's not that we want to feel super cool or be super cool. Who doesn't love heroes? Everybody loves heroes. Everybody supports heroes. Everybody looks up to them. So at the end of the day, what I've seen for myself, at least, is like, if I can get to be the hero of something, people will like me more. People will love me more. At the end, there's always the same freaking issue: love. I would be more loved. People will love me more, or I could love more myself. And again, it just starts with these stupid daily things of the messy room that I get to clean. But if you can go, and not every time is like, not every stupid thing is gonna go back to, I need love. There is a hole in my heart that I need to fulfill. There is an inner child that needs nourishment. But it could be. It could be. If we start seeing that a lot of these things hold some truth inside, I think that is where we're all trying to get. Yes, you're here to see faster results, but these are the actual things that are going to make you do that work in a much more rewarding way, because you can get the results, fast results, by hating your body or just deeply needing it, instead of like having that certainty, that feeling safe, whatever body you have, no matter what happens, but knowing that you're doing the right things and building it out of that self-love and a place that you can feel confident in. So we're speaking about getting fast results with fitness coaching and all that. Your horizon should be, this is a lifetime. This is an identity. It shouldn't be like, I only have 3 months, then everything is done. And I think this is such an important thing for everybody, again, to remember. I know people that are huge. Like, you see them at the gym, you see like, okay, they're bodybuilders, they train, they've been at it for years and years and years, they maybe competed, You see them at a wedding or with clothes on or shopping or whatever, you wouldn't be able to tell that's a bodybuilder, that's the physique they have. Because clothes, they don't show anything. Like unless you go with like super tight, whatever things that is not a trend anymore. Sorry to say, now we'll go all baggy, then there is no way. Like if you see me after an hour workout where I actually trained focus and you see my muscles or you see me train, you see that I look okay. You look at me, you see, okay, this person trains. That's I hope that's at least the kind of feeling you get. But if you see me everyday life, or you see me like surrounded by other people, maybe taller than me or bigger than me, or in general, you wouldn't say at all, oh, this guy's been going to the gym for 10 years. Actually, there's a pretty okay physique or whatever. Like, again, even if you get like huge and with veins and all that, it's not going to be like that all the time. And I remember wanting that for the longest time because we see these people on Instagram and then we think that's the way I want to see. And that's going to be my reality 24/7. But no, sometimes you're going to have long sleeves. In Denmark, we have like 1,000 clothes all the time on because it's freaking cold all the time or it rains. So you're never gonna show off your physique ever, anyways. Like you're gonna show it off 2 days when if you go to, I don't know, the beach, the 2 days that it's actually warm enough. Like
Yeah.
so there's all these ideas that we have of, oh, then when I achieve that, then everything's gonna be perfect. It's so not, the second that I actually achieved the physique that I want and I'm comfortable with, I started thinking it didn't matter. Like I'm very proud. I'm happy to how I look. I'm so like still trained because I know it's important to me to look a certain way, but it's mostly to, you know, demonstrate to myself and others. I'm a person that, is disciplined, takes things seriously, takes my health seriously. I do it as a job. So of course I also need to kind of look at the part that plays a role for me as of course, but it has a lot to do with just like I don't care as much as I did before because priorities will change. Maybe 10 years ago, I cared a lot more about how I looked. Now I have kids, I have so many other things to do that how I look, yeah, it's important, but I'm not obsessed as I was, or maybe as you are now, because that's you're just fresh out of this. At some point, it's gonna matter less, and bigger things are gonna enter your life. Maybe you're gonna become a dad or a parent, or you're gonna buy a house, or you're gonna have an incredible career, or whatever. Like other amazing things are gonna happen, and the physique thing is gonna be important, but you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm actually good. How I look is not a thing anymore. It might. So yeah, it's a process. We're gonna change all the time, and it's just important to enjoy any moment because at some point it's not gonna be like that anymore. It's important, really, also what we see on social media, right? Or,
Yeah.
or what we actually imagine will happen or we see ourselves living. I don't look the way I look in my pictures 24/7 at all. And nobody does. Not even those that are super, super trained that you admire. They don't look like that at all when you see them. And even products, if you see products or you see a movie, or I'm in the summer house, right? Beautiful, amazing view. I'm looking out of this insane, beautiful bay, whatever, there's water and all that. Beautiful. But does it look like it was on the ad or on the whatever place that we booked it in? Of course not. It was like, is it beautiful? Am I enjoying my time? Yes, amazing. Am I grateful I can be here? Yes, I'm blessed. But it's not the same. And even, I don't know, your earpods, you see them on the whatever, or your iPhone, it looks like so perfect in these videos that they make, right? Shiny, perfect. And then you get it. Yeah, super cool. But it's never like ultra HD, popping colors. And I'm realizing this more and more that sometimes when I see things that I really want, is because I see them through a screen or I picture it in my mind as I'm picturing a movie, or I see my life as a movie, or I see products that I want or things that I'm creating through a filter, through a screen, in an image. And that fucks up reality sometimes. Like it's never going to be that way. It's not going to be popping like this thing. It's like, it's not as cool as it is on those Apple ads. We still want to pursue it, but also actually enjoy the fact that we are building the way we want it and we live it.